Welcome to Promote, Profit, Publish. I'm your host, Juliet Clark, and as usual, really glad to have you here today. Wanted to remind you before we get started to go over and take our Promote, Profit, Publish quiz. You can find that at www.promoteprofitpublishquiz.com. Find out where your skill set lies when it comes to lead generation and building a platform and all those things you need for visibility of your book in the world. Also, run over to, let's see, it's YouTube. I don't know why that just escaped from my senile head, but run over to YouTube and follow us over on Superbrand Publishing, subscribe, and you're here and you're listening. So go leave us a review. Would love to hear from you guys what you think of the show. Of course, only if you're thinking good things. If you're not, go away. Okay, so today's guest actually has an accent. Wait till you hear. He's got a really cool accent. He is British author, piano player, international racing driver, and business coach, Jonny Cooper. And he's the founder of Jonny Hates Marketing. Could there even be a better name? That is so awesome. Since growing a business to 8 figures and exiting, Jonny's been supporting coaches, trainers, therapists, and consultants who are serious about building their thriving practice, changing the world, and enjoying life of the effortless abundance. His client attraction blueprint program, and by the way, because he's British, that has an E at the end, like an ME, just want to tell you, is filled with eager students every month, and he's closing in on his mission to impact the lives of 1 million professionals by 2025. Jonny's 3 pillars of effortless marketing provide a template for universal success and growth to any aspiring coach and therapist. And he's passionate about increasing the average income across the profession. He's also the voice behind the legendary Jonny Hates Marketing Facebook group and swears that he really, really does hate marketing. Welcome, Jonny.
Yay.
Wait a minute, it's Jonny Cooper. I told you all about him and then didn't say his name. So it's Jonny Hates Marketing. That's his full name, really. No.
It really is. That was my birth name, actually. My middle name's hyphenated.
There you go. So your mother's last name was Hates Marketing as well.
Vera hates marketing. My God, she'd be spinning in her grave if she could hear us.
There you go. So welcome to the show. I'm really excited to have you. What really piqued me to have you on the show is therapists. Therapists are such a unique group out there. They're trained in so many facets, and when they put themselves out in the world, they try to market every single one of them. They all suffer from FOMO. So how do you cure that?
Yeah, you're right there. Well, first of all, I've got to say thank you for that sparkling intro. I hope I can live up to all that hype.
Yeah. Well, you wrote it. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, and I always say that every time I hear it back. I can't believe I wrote it. Yeah, you are right. I mean, therapists, and there may be a slight difference in terms between the UK and the States. Therapists in the UK, not necessarily licensed medical practitioners, but they're kind of hypnotherapists and heart-centered entrepreneurs, people who do NLP and that kind of thing, you know. But yeah, I mean, you're right. They have generally built up a wide range of skills and experience and knowledge. And it becomes like a smorgasbord, isn't it, to use a Danish term, or a jumble sale, a yard sale, where there's kind of a little bit of everything. And, you know, the first realization that we try and bring to that community is, look, nobody actually cares about any of this stuff. The secret to promotion, organic marketing, is to enter the conversation that's going on in your clients' heads, right? And the client has yet to be born who wakes up in the morning and goes, I must get myself some hypnotherapy today, you know. I must get me some NLP, you know. Those are not conversations that clients have either with others or to themselves internally. So therefore, showing up in the world saying, I'm an NLP practitioner, NLP master practitioner, for God's sake. Or, you know, I'm a hypnotherapist. That has little or no impact on anyone, and particularly not your ideal clients, because the people who need hypnotherapy or your NLP work are suffering from something which is bugging them, you know, and they'll be talking about that, not about the need for hypnotherapy. They'll be saying, I wish I could stop smoking, for example. I
Mhm.
wish I could fit into this dress, for example. I wish I could get rid of this knot in my stomach every time I think about talking to my boss. You know, all this, the whole gamut of anxiety and stress and addictions and all that stuff that these tools, hypnotherapy and NLP, for example, might cure. So, you know, I always encourage them to straight away understand the distinction between a tool and an actual promotable solution and message, you know, the way you show up in the world. So yeah, you're right. You got me off on one there, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. But you know what? That's such a great marketing piece right there, because nobody really cares about your process. They care
Oh,
about the results.
they definitely don't care about your qualifications. And, you know, the amount of people who show up on LinkedIn and they start their headline with the word founder and CEO, founder and president. And in the LinkedIn search, that's all you see sometimes. You know,
Mhm.
when you're looking through profiles to find interesting people. Well, nobody cares. Well done. You're a founder. Great. You know, well done. You've called yourself the president of your business. Brilliant. You know, we need to get real, don't we? Start talking about what we actually bring to the world. What's the big transformational benefit that people get from us? You know, why would we have to invent you if you didn't exist? You know,
That is very true. So how did you get into all this? And I have to ask
oh,
you, international racing driver?
hey, you bet. Yeah, and that is an itch which has not yet been fully scratched. I can tell you. I still I still am a driver of racing cars, although not so much in the last year or so. I'm building the business, and not so much in the last few months, clearly, because no one is going motor racing right now. Um, but yeah, I've driven lots of fast cars. I've wrecked lots of fast cars. I've spent lots of money that I could have spent more wisely, perhaps.
Very
Who knows?
good. So how did you get on this journey to where you are today? You mentioned that you had an eight-figure business. What business did you start out in, and how did you end up here?
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, it was. I don't want to bore your listeners with my full biography, so the potted version, hopefully the more entertaining version. Me and another chap, we just launched a business in the mid 90s, and we sold it in 2003. So we had a kind of 8 year run at it. Financial consultancy, you know, selling
Mhm.
pensions and investments, that kind of thing. But we built that up from scratch, just the two of us. When we sold it in 2003, we had 200 staff. Oh, 8 offices around the UK, 10 million turnover in sterling. So in your money, that's probably about 15 million, something like that.
Mhm.
And we made £1 million profit in 2003. And when you make a profit over seven figures, it puts you into another multiple of valuation, makes your business more valuable to other people. So
Mhm.
we took an offer to sell at that point. And I just kind of fell into coaching and consultancy. I never intended to be, if anything, I'm an accidental business coach. But I was just being asked by some of the former clients of that business to help them with their businesses. So I got dragged into, and this is a kind of classic um, rags to riches to rags again story, because I got dragged into being Johnny, the go-to guy for business advice, you know, a generalist. And I had a rag bag of clients over 15 years, helping them with growth, marketing, sales, funding, raised a few million quid for small businesses, exit strategies, you know, all that kind of thing, HR even, oh my God, social media, learning on the fly, you know, just knowing a little bit more than my clients did at any point in time.
Always a step ahead.
Oh, I was a step ahead, you know, like is it the cartoon, the Roadrunner, is it, where he's in front of the train, he's laying the track, sleeper by sleeper, just as the train's coming towards him.
Wait a minute, is
Um,
that Roadrunner or is that Bugs Bunny?
it's Bugs Bunny, you're right.
Bugs Bunny.
Bugs
Come on,
Bunny.
get your cartoons
That's what
right.
we are. Yeah, what's up, Duck? So by 2015, I had this kind of, you know, crazy portfolio of clients, most all paying me too little and expecting too much. And I just realized that what I was doing wrong was I was a generalist. You know, I was very vague with my offering. I had the vagueness virus, as I've called it, for the last couple of years. I'm not just jumping on the virus bandwagon there. That is something I used to call it before then.
Before COVID.
Before COVID, BC. Um, and yeah, so I was worn out just working all hours God sends, mostly one-to-one,
Mhm.
So I started digging into some of these, globally renowned coaches, mostly from over the pond from us in your country, people like Frank Kern, Tony Robbins, obviously, the shining light, the godfather of all this stuff. And what I noticed, I looked at a lot of these different coaches, is that they had what I've now characterized as my three pillars. So my three pillars of client attraction. The first one is the what. What it is you actually do. Have a clear proposition.
Mhm.
Do something which separates you from the herd. Brand a method if you can, as your own particular thing. Second pillar, so that's the what. The second pillar is the who. Who the hell's it for? And I fell prey to this for more than a decade, where I was serving anybody who would knock on my door just because they looked like they might be able to pay me something. And that's just a crazy way to work. You spread yourself too thinly. You end up underperforming and delivering and getting underpaid, of course. The third pillar then is productizing your services. The third pillar is how. So we've got the what, the who, and the how. The how is how you deliver what it is you deliver. And you're well into this, Julia. I know, and most other smart coaches around the globe are already doing this, but selling your time by the hour, one-to-one sessions with individual clients, it's just a bonkers way to try and build a business, because you're always going to run out of time before you run out of ambition. There's never going to be enough hours in the week to really, hit all the marks for your revenue and effortless kind of input that you want to achieve. I said to a therapist the other day, he was looking to get 25 hours a week of therapy, one-to-one. I said, you must be mad. Why would you want to do that? That's the worst thing that could happen. He went, what? Just
Yeah.
imagine having 25 hourly paying clients back to back across a working week. What else are you going to do? How are you going to eat? When are you going to go for a pee?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That has
just
to be
insane.
exhausting.
Yeah. So the third pillar is the how. And this means productizing your services, creating programs that more than one person can join at the same time, corral like-minded people together who look like your ideal clients, leverage your time, get paid more than once for doing the same job.
Hmm.
So I've pretty much got the kind of what, the who, and the how, the three pillars in place in my business, and I'm now showing other coaches and therapists and consultants how to do the same for their business, and that's what I do basically.
That's very cool. So what I loved about your model is, I have a group program, but it's a rather large group program. They're in it for a year. You actually have
Yeah,
an intensive program where you only take a very small number a month. You
yeah,
tell us about that and why it works so well for you.
yeah. I think there's a number of things that are behind the longevity of it and the underlying success. I mean, it's called the client attraction blueprint, so people don't get confused about what it is. They know what's in it, the label on the tin and all that sort of thing. So if a coach or therapist wants to discover a blueprint for client attraction, they're already moving towards the CAB. The other thing that's responsible for its success, I think, is that yes, it's a small group program, so it's high energy, lots of attention, and a small group. So only 4 people each month join it. The other thing that's, I think, driving its success is my sheer bloody mindedness and persistence.
Hmm.
I don't like reinventing the wheel. I don't like confusion in my own business. I don't like overwhelm. I like to keep things simple, So I launched my signature program, the CAB, in March 2018. And I've just determinedly had a sold out monthly intake every single month ever since. So we're just about to launch CAB 27 on the 26th of May, so 27 consecutive sold out intakes. I don't know if there's many practitioners around the world who could say that they've done that, with that kind of consistency.
Hmm.
And it just seems to me to be an underlying thread, in all successful businesses, that showing up consistently, doing the same thing, getting the same results, and then within that, learning how to scale it, but without breaking the model,
Hmm.
doing more of what already works. So for the first time in May, you've just caught me, we're launching CAB 27 and 28 in the same month. So it's the first month that I'm launching 2 of these. And we've already got one sold out and the other one's half sold. So just 2 more places for me, which is amazing. It shows that the demand is there,
Mm-hmm.
both in my community and the wider coaching world. What I've done, the reason it's taken so long, is that I've been looking for a trusted delivery coach to deliver the second one, because I don't want to deliver 2 in a month. That'd just be too much work.
Mm-hmm.
So I found somebody. I found a wonderful lady from your country, from Florida, and she's going to be delivering CEB 28, pretty much in parallel with me delivering 27. So you can see the way I'm talking about with such familiarity. It is the beating heart of my business,
Mm-hmm.
and I encourage all my coach and therapist clients to discover, what's their version of the CAB? How would it work? Is it a group coaching program like mine that lasts for 12 weeks? We launch it once a month. Is it a shorter program, 6 weeks? Is it like yours, Juliet? Is it a 12-month commitment?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a subscription membership? That can be just as effective. But whatever it is, productize your services, build a program. People buy products, they don't buy ideas.
Right.
And, that makes night and day difference, really.
It does. And what I love about the intensive on that is we are finishing up the last of our year clients, and we're going to something a little shorter, because one of the things we hear a
Yeah,
lot is, how much time is this going to take me?
I know.
Because a year is a really long time to commit to. So I think we're
Yeah,
actually going to be going
that's
back to
interesting.
12,
I mean, it's wonderful to learn from direct experience with clients, and it probably took you a year to realize that there was a different way to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of coaches are guilty of just chopping and changing and inventing stuff in a vacuum that just
Yes.
feels like it might be a good idea. There's no better way to create a product than understand deeply what it is your clients want.
Right.
You can only do that by working with your tribe for a bit and listening to them, and getting feedback. But
Well,
you said something else interesting there about the length of it. I've pretty much got a hybrid now, because when someone joins the CAB, the promise to them is that we will work together for a year,
mm-hmm.
but we get most of the work done in the first 3 months, in the first 12 weeks. And the rest of the year, they're actually members of my subscription community, which is a non-CAB. You'd pay £67 a month for, about $82 a month.
Mm-hmm.
But if you join the CAB, you get 12 months membership in that.
Mm-hmm.
So we do kind of work together for a year, although, as you've suggested with your lot, it's not as intense. There's not 12 months of hard grind. Once they've got the basics in the first 3 months, they hang out in the subscription community, and we meet once a week and just shoot the breeze, and make sure everyone's on track.
See, I think that's so great, because one of the things that we do different in our program is, yes, we're together for a year, but we have 12 weeks and then we repeat the 12 weeks. And we do that
Okay.
because we want you to pick up skills, get familiar with them, and then move on to the next piece that you missed. Because that's what I find in a
Oh, I see.
lot of these longer programs, which you probably take care of with your subscription, is that people pick up what they need right then, but there's so much more that they kind of put on hold because they get overwhelmed. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what we do, is go through it the first time, get what you can. We're going to go through this again and you're going to pick up. But I
Yeah.
find by the third or fourth rendition of it that they're not picking up anymore. They've just kind of moved on to the next thing. So it's really good
Yeah.
food for thought. What you
Mm.
just said about that 12 weeks, about really getting intentional with that 12 weeks, and you got to get in here and learn that. So I
Yeah, I
do
think
love
so. I
that.
think the thing that attracts them is that we will be working together for 12 months, but we get most of the work done in the first 12 weeks. I think
Yeah.
that's quite a powerful hook, and people get that. They go, oh yeah,
Yeah,
I see that.
we do as well.
Mm.
With we have the quiz up and running, but it's the use, it's the implementation.
Yeah.
And I think
I love that quiz, by the way. I tried that the other day.
oh, did you? Thank you.
Yeah.
No, but I think for a lot of coaching programs, you get the pieces in place, and then people don't pull the trigger and implement.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I really like about that shorter program is, you
Mm.
have the tools. Now let's get in there and get them implemented, because it doesn't do you any good to have these skills and then not use them.
Oh, well, I fell out with courses. I mean, when I decided to reinvent myself, from the kind of jack of all trades, um, I I pitched in with a whole bunch of personal development. Um, Over an 18-month period, I spent over 20 grand on my own, you know, learning, if that's the right word. Some of it was just rubbish, and the ones that didn't work at all were the distance learning things, you know, where they just gave you a bunch of downloadable videos, um, and you kind of watch them, and a bit of it rubs off, a bit of it doesn't. I mean, there's a dusty corner of my hard drive that's got 20 grams of the stuff on it, you know, and it's like,
Uh, you know,
you know,
oh,
is it ever going to work? So you're right. I mean, that A word, accountability, you know,
yeah.
and action and implementation. So I'm really the kind of antidote to all that, having experienced the rough end of it. I'm now passionate about making sure that every single module, these 4 people on the CAB actually do something in their business and then move their business forward. And we don't move on to the next module until I'm certain that they're all making progress, you know, no child left behind kind of
See, I love that. You don't know this, but my
thing.
audience has probably heard this before. Back in 2017, we sold, you called them the dusty part of your hard drive. We sold
Yeah,
over 80 of those at an event. And we followed up, I think it was in May. We followed up a few months later with the people who bought it. Over half of them had never even opened it.
I know. Is
They
that
paid
remarkable?
$1,000 for something that they never even opened.
I
And
know.
we picked up the
What?
phone and we talked to those people who opened it. And that's how we started our group program, was the feedback, because they said, this would have been
Yeah.
so much better if we'd had your help.
Yeah, if you'd pushed us a bit.
Yeah.
Well, I fell prey to the same just last year. I created a digital version of the CAB, the Client Attraction Blueprint. I called it the Client Attraction Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? £1,000, same price point.
Mm-hmm.
We did a bit of a campaign before Christmas with an upsell in it, and we sold 12. Um, Half of the people I've heard from again. We set up an accountability pod even in the private Facebook group, tagged everybody who bought it. Said, come on, report your results.
Nobody.
Crickets, you know, 2 or 3 people are reporting. I'm thinking, what did you get from spending £1,000? It's
Right.
almost like, you know, these retail addicts. Do you hear about these people who like buy stuff
Oh,
in bags, clothes and
compulsive
things?
shoppers.
Yeah, and they just kind of leave it in the shop or something, you know, because they don't actually want it. They just wanted the thrill of paying for it, you know. Maybe
It's funny.
that's what it is.
I actually had a roommate in college who was engaged, and she said, "Oh, I'm so afraid," because she shops so much. She's like, "I'm so afraid that I'm going to be married to this guy and he's going to sit on the couch and hear the crunch of the bags that I'm hiding from him underneath the sofa." It was so cute. They've been married
Yeah,
forever now, but it was just so funny. She's like, "I had this dream." So, but
yeah.
that's the kind of person you're talking about. They buy for the thrill. It's filling
It's just
something
others. Yeah.
emotionally, but they're not actually
Mm.
doing the work. And I got to wonder, those 12 you had, we've been locked down for weeks. Why weren't they taking the course?
Well, we pushed them actually, and interestingly, two or three of them, I think, out of the 12 have upgraded it into the CAB. I did them a bit of a deal, you know, by rebating some of what they'd paid, because the CAB is a lot more expensive, of course. Um, but yeah, it is odd, isn't it? One thing I realised fairly early on, Julia, is that we're ultimately not responsible for the results our clients get from our work, and
Right.
so long as we show up with genuine desire to serve, and you know, we present our stuff with authority, um, and only show people stuff that we know works, you know,
Hmm.
that we've proven to work ourselves. And we've kind of done our bit, haven't we? It's almost up to them whether I had a conversation with a client today about guarantees. I said, hang on a minute. I said, what are you on about? You're the more important half of this relationship. You know,
Hmm.
there's 2 of us in this, and you're the more important half. I can only show you what I know works. Up to you whether you do it. Why would I
Right.
guarantee that? I have literally no control over that, you know. And I kind of, I won't say I let myself off the hook. I mean, I'm still very intense about trying my best to make sure people get results. But if they ain't doing it, they ain't doing it, are they?
No, they're not. And I love that about guarantees, because I see people with guarantees all the time, and I wonder, well, how do you do that? Because
Well,
I
I'll tell you how they do it. I mean, that's a different discussion, isn't it? Because you have a guarantee, and it doesn't mean people are dissatisfied if they're not doing the work. Because I've actually, interviewed some former clients who don't seem to be making much progress, but they're still happy. They go, "Oh, it's great. I really enjoyed it. It's great hanging out with you guys," but you're still broke. So when these people put their guarantees on their sales pages, it's in the certainty that not many people are going to claim.
yeah.
Um, in fact, an insignificant proportion will ever try and claim the money back.
That's very true. I actually have a contract where I have my responsibilities and they have their responsibilities.
Yeah.
And I've had a few people come back, and it's been lucky because I've been able to pull the contract out and said, did we do this? Did we do that? Did we do X? Well, it looks
Mm.
like I lived up to my part of it. So the answer is no.
Yeah, I,
So
I found out once. I took somebody on the CAB in the early days that really, really wasn't a fit, really wasn't suitable, and they were getting nothing out of it. And I paid them their money back before they even asked.
I
I just
paid
said,
them to
"Yeah,
leave.
off you go."
Well, people, you know what?
And
People
it's just that it's the right thing to do. I mean, you don't
don't.
want to have angry clients,
Right.
um, and you know, how great clients are, advocates and ambassadors. The opposite of that is unthinkable, isn't it? People running around slagging you off. So I'd,
That's
I'd,
true.
I'd rather pay people if they're not getting anything out of it, or give them the
Right.
money back anyway, even though it's not in the contract.
That's true. And for
Yeah.
those of you, like Jonny was talking earlier about taking on just those right clients, when you take on a client or two that are not the right fit, they will suck the life out of you.
Oh yeah.
So that's why it's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
important to be really empowered to only take on those people that fit.
Well, there's always been that kind of 80-20 kind of thing. In my old business, when I was a general business coach, it was 20% of the clients would sap 80% of your energy. 20% of your revenue would come from the clients expecting 80% of your time.
Mhm.
And there's just a lesson I learned there. In your marketing and branding, it's before marketing really, and how you show up. Just make it clear the kind of people that you work with, so that your tribe recognizes you, and those who are not don't even come anywhere near you.
That's great.
Yeah.
So where do we find you if we want to get some more information and hate on marketing just like you do?
Well, it's really simple. I mean, all I want anyone to do is join the Facebook group. It's the hub of all things. It's called Johnny Hates Marketing. No, there's no H. So if you just go to Facebook and type in Johnny Hates Marketing, the Facebook search is kind to me. There's no Sheila Hates Marketing or Barry Hates Marketing. So I can be found, and just join the group. Hang out with us there. That's the place to be. And you'll be part of the story then, and it's quite clear where you can go from there. There's only two offers. One is to join the paid community, which gets you a little bit closer to us, and then the 4 a month experience in the client attraction blueprint. We talk about that a lot in the group as well. So yeah, just come hang out on Facebook, Johnny Hates Marketing. See you there.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for being on today.
You're welcome. It's been great.